Welcome back everyone. Let's go ahead and talk about the iPhone 6 and see how this bad boy holds up in the middle of 2020 or 2021 for that matter. Now, I will tell you, obviously I don't think anybody should be purposely going out of their way to buy this phone. Even getting a phone like an iPhone 6s is going to get you a much better experience. Even though it's only one generation, 1 year newer, it is worlds apart in my opinion. So if you want to pick up some phones that I would recommend this year, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. Now the front of the iPhone 6 has stayed consistent, 4.7-inch panel right there, 750p, and it's still a pretty decent panel for a 2014 device. Quite a bit of bezel around it, home button on the front, but it does seem like it hasn't really been, getting worse, so I think that's a good thing. Lightning port on the bottom, headphone jack, and on the back, aluminum back with a single camera setup. And I think as a whole, as I mentioned before, this is a good feeling phone, a very good feeling phone for a 2014 device. If you remember, even at this point, a lot of the phones were coming out, they had plastic backs and they were plastic built. It wasn't until like 2015, 2016 where a lot more phones were starting to become more, premium. And the iPhone at that time was one of the most premium feeling phones at the time. So without a doubt, the iPhone 6 still feels extremely good and felt extremely good at that time. Now camera wise, it is a single 8 megapixel sensor, definitely not the best camera, only 1080p, and I think as a whole, if you're going to use this phone, you may be able to get, decent video from it. It's not going to be like an iPhone, 10 replacement. It's definitely not even going to be better than an iPhone 6s. The 6s also had 4K, this phone does not have 4K, so the front camera is a 1.2 megapixel sensor and both cameras will get the job done, but I will tell you, the newer cameras that we have are much better than this specific device, and although you can probably make it work, I would not recommend you buying this phone because of the camera or anything like that, but it may get the job done. But one of the most impressive things about the iPhone 6, and it's almost like the gift that keeps on giving, is the software. This thing started off with iOS 8, it did end off with iOS 12, but even just the day before or yesterday, 2 days ago, we literally just got another software version, another software update of this device, which was iOS 12.5.4. This thing got a newer version of software than even iOS 14 technically, in terms of release date. Obviously it's outdated, it's 2 to 3 versions behind already, but the fact that Apple is still spending money to, keep pushing out security updates of this device means a lot, and I'm really happy to see that. So without a doubt, that is a very impressive thing about it. And on top of that, even the battery life, it's not even that big, and it's an okay battery life right now in terms of the year it came out and everything. But if you want to replace something of this phone, if you want to fix something of this phone, it's really not that expensive of a, experience to go ahead and do that. You can realistically fix any part of this device for a fairly cheap amount of money. So that's another pretty big thing to keep in mind as well. Now I will end off with the performance. This thing has that Apple A8 chip inside of it with 1 GB of RAM, and I do think this is the one area where this phone is probably one of the most passive areas, and it's not a good performing phone by any means, but it's also not bad when you consider that this thing is like 7 years old at this point. You kind of expect it to not be the best, you expect it to be slow and all this stuff, but the fact that it even performs kind of like this, like if I had to, I could totally use this phone and probably get away with it. I don't think this is a bad performing phone. And as I've always stated, that's one of the best things about this phone, having that type of capability of just constantly just using a phone that's stable for so many years. That's actually a really impressive thing. So I think without a doubt, that's something I love seeing, and I think that's a super impressive thing about this device. So in terms of all that, and to kind of answer the question, should you even still buy an iPhone 6 in the middle of 2021? I would absolutely say no. I would not recommend buying this phone anymore. It is completely not worth it. There's probably a lot more things you can buy for this money, and to be honest, even on top of that, you can probably buy something like an iPhone, 6s or iPhone 7 for maybe like $50 to $100 more than this specific device, and the amount of experience that you're going to get and the amount of difference you're going to get is going to be astronomical. So I think that's a massive thing to keep in mind. The iPhone 6 meant a lot to people, and I still, love this phone. It had a lot of capability at that time, but as I mentioned, it is not one of those phones that would be like, hey, you have to go out of your way to buy it. It makes a way more sense to, buy something like even an iPhone 6s, which I wouldn't even highly recommend. I would much rather recommend buying something like an iPhone 7 or 7 Plus. You're going to be getting a much better performing phone from that thing than this specific device. So take it as you will, but that's pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.